Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am Bishop Richard Prim, and I'm so glad that you have joined us. We're coming across about 14 pages, and I'm just grateful and thankful that you have decided to become a part of our experience on tonight. I've been privileged to write a new book. Actually, it's my fourth book that's been published. It says All This and Heaven Too. And recently I was interviewed, and I just want to share some of that interview with you. I'm telling you, we serve an awesome God, and I want you to get this book. I want you to read my story. I want you to read the pain and the challenges that I went through. And yet God was there all of the time. I want you to hear an audio version of my introduction to chapter 7, which is written by my bride, Carolyn. And then we'll be right back.
This chapter, titled God Knows and He Cares, has been beautifully composed by none other than Carolyn, my beloved wife. Little did I know that within the pages of her memoirs, she would unveil poignant moments of our lives that had remained hidden from me. As I embarked on this captivating literary journey with my wife as the narrator, I was unprepared for the wave of emotions that surged through me. Each word was like a brush stroke, delicately painting vivid pictures of struggles, triumphs, and raw vulnerability. Through her candid storytelling, Carolyn dives deep into the crucible that has shaped both our beings and our lives together as a couple. As I read through the lines etched with tenderness and honesty, it became clear that these poignant experiences had played a central role in shaping the course of our intertwined destinies. I was amazed to uncover obscure details, long forgotten by time, that had enriched our lives with unexpected hues. It was an awe-inspiring reminder of the intricate tapestry that we have woven together, one that was woven with equal parts joy and sorrow, love and loss. With each turn of the page, I felt my heart becoming more connected to the unspoken thoughts and forgotten memories that Carolyn bravely chose to share. Through her words, Carolyn guides the reader through the intricate corridors of her memories, inviting them to experience snippets of our lives that would otherwise remain hidden in the depths of her heart. The tender moments of vulnerability, the trials that tested our resilience, and the milestones that spurred our growth, they were all there, carefully laid out like precious treasures waiting to be unearthed. As I explored this chapter of her memoirs, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for her willingness to bare her soul, allowing us to witness the remarkable impact that these shared experiences had on us both. In retrospect, this chapter encompasses not only Carolyn's journey but also serves as a poignant reminder of the power of empathy and understanding within a partnership. It reinforces the belief that we seldom truly know the depth and breadth of our loved ones' experiences until they are willingly shared. As Carolyn's words dance effortlessly across the pages, I find myself reflecting on the interconnected nature of our lives and the beautiful tapestry of experiences that have shaped us into who we are today. It is an invitation to all readers to embrace vulnerability, explore the hidden layers of their own lives, and appreciate the transformative power that shared experiences possess. Isaiah 26:3, He sees. He knows. He cares. We can rest assured.
A natural conversation that will allow, the Holy Spirit to bring out what He wants to bring out and give you the opportunity to share what this book means to you. But man, I'm reading the book and thinking about this upcoming interview, and I didn't get to read all of it. I skimmed through pretty quick. But in skimming it and pausing at a couple of different chapters, brother, I just would like to say this is a great, great work. And I'm not just gaslighting you or pumping you up. This piece of work right here is a fabulous work. And I would encourage those who are watching or those who may be listening, if when the opportunity comes, the book is not out yet, and I'll let you drop the dates and details. But when this book drops, it's going to bless you. If you lived on this earth for any length of time and you've experienced what Dr. Prim has experienced and living in what you thought may have been your calling, your purpose, and it may have well been for that particular season, but unbeknownst to you, God was going to throw you a no-look pass while you're in mid-stride.
Well, Phil, this is what I appreciate. It's been an 8-year journey to actually do this book. It was written or marinating in my heart, my wife's heart, for 8 years. And I began to walk around the house and say these words, all of this and heaven too. And what I've come to realize, and you said it well, is that in life, we have to discover our purpose. We have to discover our passion. And then we have to realize that there is an assignment where we carry out our purpose and where we fulfill our passion. And the thing that was hard for me to comprehend and understand as I look back now is that my assignment for the time that I was serving had come to an end, had come to a conclusion. And so I was still trying to work out my assignment, and it was over. It was over. And so what I now know, and I preach about it and teach about it, is that the storm was not sent to break me, it was sent to make me. And I can pivot and run down the road as I get my hallelujah moments and realize how good God is, man. The songwriter said, as I look back over my life and I think things over, I can truly say that I've been blessed and I've got a testimony. And that's what I write about.
And you've got, I heard that I've got some good days. I've had some bad days. I've had some hills to climb. And the title, and we're gonna go deep, man, and draw out some things that's gonna bless some people. The title, depending upon where you stand and the angle in which you look from and how the light is shining, it can really be deceiving to some folk. The title, all this and heaven too. When I heard it, I'm thinking about, man, you got your cake, you're eating it too. You got your bed of roses. You're getting breakfast in bed. You got a driver. You've got all of this on the left. That's good. You got all of this on the right. That's good. Until I crack open the pages of the book. Where did the book come from?
It came from, the word I like to utilize is just 4 letters. It came from pain. It came from my experience with being in love with people who undoubtedly for a season loved me. And my bride puts it like this. She said, baby, folk will either love you or they will hate you. Yeah. And in the interim of what I experienced, I learned that was true.
In both cases, people will love you or they will love to hate you. The people that love you, they love to love you up close and personal and from afar. The people that love to hate you, love for you to see them hate you up close and personal and from afar. But here it's a little bit more deeper than that, because you were a pastor, and I remember the move from Indianapolis to Kansas. You were a pastor that took a congregation from where it was and almost had catapulted it to catch up with the current times and build it on beyond. You were a pastor that for over 25, 30 years that grew up with families. You birthed them, you buried them, you married them. And these people that, the people that you would never think to be the ones that, I'm just going to say it, that when you turn around to pull that knife out your back, it's somebody you knew up close and personal. These are people that you loved. And walk through us through that experience, during that season where you're walking in and it's almost like when Peter looks at Jesus after the third denial, and you're looking into their faces, and you got to look into their faces. What at that moment, what was life like? How hard was life? What was the pressure of life like at that moment?
Well, let me share with you some of the detail. I won't give a lot of everything away because I really want people to read the book.
Absolutely.
But I had gotten a letter about 4 or 5 days before Christmas. And so that's why this interview taking place 2 days before Christmas speaks to my heart. And the letter said, we want you to resign before the end of the year. The header of the letter was from my elders board. No one signed it. From that prospectus alone, I didn't know whether this was a hoax. I didn't know if somebody was playing some type of trick on me. I was scratching my head trying to figure it out. Matters got worse after that because I did not do what the board wanted me to do. The board wanted me to resign before the end of the year. This would have been in 2014. So December of 2014, I received a letter that says, we no longer want you to be pastor of the church. And it goes from bad to worse. And now let me throw this in there. One of the mothers of the church, who you would kind of think perhaps didn't have all her faculties. She was one of the mothers that at the end of the service would sit in the back of the church waiting for a ride home. Unbeknownst to me, and this is after the fact, after I leave the church, she opens up and she says, Pastor, they would sit back there and talk about how they were going to get rid of you. And she gave me details that I later find in writing because of one of the elders who loved me shared with me some of those details, and they're in the book.
Yeah, they're in the book.
Yeah, man. I mean, they are there. And literally from that perspective, my eyes are open because, again, I have this love relationship. Yes, we have moments of difficulty. Yes, we have ups, we have downs, like any relationship. But I never knew that I had in my camp someone who was determined to get rid of me.
Smile in your face.
That song says, smiling faces tell lies.
Yeah.
My bride writes one of the chapters, chapter 7, and in it, she's so descriptive of one of those individuals because one of those persons that she notices that is one of the thorns in my flesh happens to come down the aisle and hugs me. She says, embraces me so tightly that she felt like, all right, whatever it was, it's over. And now we're moving forward. She
writes that so vividly as to the expressions that she could read on her face. And it's almost like, the expressions that she describes that in the book. It's almost like she was ready to step in before that embrace took place. But then when she said she saw the embrace, she relaxed and maybe thought she might have read it wrong or something. But in that chapter, I think it's what God knows and He cares.
Yes, sir.
In that chapter that she writes, man, there's some really vivid moments and some hard experiences that she had to go through as your wife, your queen, watching all of this takes place. And she even opens up a little bit about how close she thought the relationships she had with some of the members of the church. And she talks about one in particular whom she just thought that she could confide in this person, and it broke her heart. And so as I'm reading the book, I can only imagine, man, that the hell of experiences that you guys had to walk through that. Because what I didn't know is when all this started, but what I do know in reading the book, your last sermon and how that came about. And I don't know who can put this into a movie script, but it's got all of the anticipations and it keeps you on the edge of your seat as to how you guys came through that. But what I want to ask you is, at what point did you really have to reflect? And in chapter 2, you talk about 3 reasons people are in our lives. Where did that chapter rise up in you?
I began to think about how important relationships were. I began thinking about the proverb that says that a friend loveth at all times and a brother is born for adversity. I began looking back over my life at those times in life where there were friends that were there for a season, or friends that were there for a reason. And then there were friends that were there eternally. They were there for my good. They were there for my bad. They were there for my ups. They were there for my downs. And the thing that I have this problem with, if that's psychologists would say, is I love people. I just see all the good and don't believe that there's anybody that's out there to hurt or harm you. My brother, that just ain't true. And so David in the Bible comes to realize that he has friends and he has frenemies.
And they're going to have to buy the book, but you give, man, an excellent viewpoint on how to identify the 3 different reasons. And once you identify the 3 different reasons, how you are to relate to the people. And if you get them mixed up or if you get them twisted, man, it could be really, really devastating. That chapter 4, the diabolical scheme, is, again, man, that if I had to vote on which chapter would be the most valuable chapter, man, I don't know if you could do it with this book, because all of the chapters, man, are detailed and vivid of what God is doing in your life, of how God is orchestrating you for your next chapter, for your next season. And that diabolical chapter, that scene that you just described, and then what takes place with your computer and what takes place with all of your belongings in that, they got to read the book for that. They got to read the book.
I'm telling you, man. It was, but as I look back on it, Phil, it was a setup.
It had to be.
Yes, sir.
It had to be, and that's where I'm going with this interview and with the book. The setup of what God had to take you through, Bishop. Man, thank you for stopping by, taking time out your schedule. But I want to thank everybody for watching the We Power podcast. Stay tuned for many, many, many more episodes to come. And we will see you the next time. We're here.
My story ain't over. My story ain't over. My story ain't over. My story ain't over. Yeah, my story. My story ain't over. Come on, say it over your life. My story. My story ain't over. Hey, my story. My story ain't over. Hey, my story. My story ain't over. Say, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. with me. You can make it. You can make it through this. Make it through. Make it through. Hey, watch this, watch this. You are deciding right now what kind of fragrance you about to have this week. So don't you just stand there looking like bounce, bounce. If you ain't got no rhythm, just. But whatever you do, just. If you're sitting down, tap your foot. Move your finger like my grandma used to do. But come on, now speak this to the person beside you. Say, you can make it through this. You can make it through this. You can make it through this. Make it through. Make it through. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too, it shall pass. It shall pass. I know it's a lot, but this too. This too. This too. It shall pass. It shall pass. Hey, touch yourself, say, my story ain't over. Hey, my story. My story ain't over. Story ain't over. Story ain't over. You can make it through this. You can make it through this. You can make it through this. Make it through. Make it through. You can make it through this. Y'all can be seated. You can sit down. You can make it through this. You can make it. Make it through. Make it through. My story ain't over. This too shall pass. You can make it through this. Make it through. Make it through. My story ain't over. This too shall pass. You can make it. You can make it. Hey, my story ain't over. My story ain't over. My story ain't over. Story ain't. Story ain't. This too shall pass. This too. This too. It shall pass. It shall pass. Now turn around and tell somebody, you can make it. Woo! You can make it. You can make it. Make it through. Make it through. Come on, one more time. You can make it. You can make it. You can make it. Everybody clap your. You better set your fragrance in order right now. Set your fragrance in order. It shall be a blessed week. It shall be a meaningful week. It shall be a peaceful week. It shall be a memorable week. It shall be an enjoyable week. It's heavy, it's hard, but I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Hey. I'm gonna make it. 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 Hey, help me tell them, you can make it through this. 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 You can make it.
Then what takes place with your computer and what takes place with all of your belongings in that they got to read the book for that. They got to read the book.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, man. It was, but as I look back on it, Phil, it was a setup.
It had to be.
Yes, sir.
It had to be, and that's where I'm going with this interview and with the book. The setup of what God had to take you through, Bishop. Man, thank you for stopping by, taking time out your schedule. But I want